Hi, this is James from Dumfries Computer Sales, and I'm just going to transfer this system apart from the optical drive. There's one already in there. You can see that very well. There's one already in there into this case. The customer doesn't want this case because, I'll just show you, it has a window, and he doesn't want a case with a window. It's to go in his workshop, and it's not going to be suitable really, so we're going to swap cases over. To begin with, we're going to just dismantle, put this to one side for now. I'll just pop this to one side. It's going into this, just show you a second, it's going into this case, this Advent case. That's the case it's going into. It's got a little door, a little bit dusty. It's been sitting around for a little while. I had a system in it. We took it out, so it's going into that case. I think it's quite a nice looking case. Not bad. I could put them side by side and then just transfer all the stuff, but you won't be able to see it very well. So I'll put this to one side and I'll dismantle this one. We don't need to take that out, so we can leave that where it is, which is handy. We could start by unplugging everything. Just unplug absolutely everything. You can see all that. Just unplug everything. Set of cables. Unplug the audio, HD audio. HD audio and USB. That one is, that's actually a card reader, built-in card reader in this system, and that's the front port IOs. This is actually, that's for the fan, that one, you can see that very well. That's for the fan, and that's for, that extends, or rather converts, because this motherboard's an 8, and you can see that at the top there, it's an 8 pin CPU power, and this power supply didn't come with an 8 pin, only came with 4 pin, so I had to put an extender on that thing there, which is actually needs to be snipped off. Actually, using the tool to do that. With this tool, pair of pliers, snips, just to snip that off. Into a little thing, throw it in the bin. I'm not going to even use this fan, he doesn't want the fan. So these has to be snipped as well, very gently. Don't want to cut any cables. It's bad news when you cut a cable, especially on the power supply. Let's take this thing down. Just be very gentle. And the smaller these are, and sharper, the more control you've got. We'll just pop that out of the way just now. All screws, I always have a little tray for screws. Over here is a little tray. And just pop all the screws, get rid of that thing. So unplug the hard drive. Unplug the motherboard power. That's it. All this is has to be cut as well, very gently. This is called cable management, which has to be undone sometimes. That's it. Didn't cut any cables there, which is good. I've got these great big cables here as well. Another good thing about that Advent case is that, I'll show you. See how the power supply sits on the bottom here. In his workshop, it'll probably sit on the floor or sit up, but it'd be better if the power supply, I'll show you this case, was in the top, in there. So it's just a better case altogether. So what's to do there? We've got to just snip these carefully. So that's it, free of that. And that's got to be done. You can't see what I'm doing very well, but I want to snip in cable ties at the moment. So that's all free. They can be put to one side, and that's the power supply free. That's got nothing to do, that's just to do with the case. That all stays with the case. So take the power supply out, this couldn't be simpler. I'll take that out first. Put these cables to one side. It's just 4 screws that hold the power supply in. 4 little screws. And they're coarse-threaded screws, just coarse-threaded screws. And the longer ones, you get shorter coarse-threaded screws, which are for hard drives. I'll just pop them in that little tray. 4 of these to pop out quick. I was quite surprised with this power supply because it was relatively cheap for what it was, and it's quite quiet. Nice little thing. I got it. Most of the machines I build are reduced. They're reduced parts, I should say. I buy them clearance or ex-display or customer return, but they're new. They're just either end of line stock, things like that. That just pops out very simply. Like that. Just pop that to one side. Next thing you can do is take the hard drives out. These cables out of the way. And they're just held in, I think I've got 3 screws in each hard drive. This computer runs 2 500 gig hard drives in RAID 0, giving you 1 terabyte. And it doesn't double the speed, but makes it perform a lot quicker. And I'll show you these screws, because these screws are slightly, like I was talking about before, are shorter, and that's a magnetic tip screwdriver. See how they're slightly shorter? They're coarse thread, but they're shorter. Because if you see the hard drive, this can go into the circuit board. If the screw's too long, you hit the circuit board on the hard drive, and that's not good. Not as bad as it used to be, apparently. Apparently it used to be very particular. You had to be really particular about the screw you used. There's 2 around the other side as well. Just gotta watch these don't fall out. Should be okay. I'll test it. I'll just test the water. That's okay, not falling out. Just watch that top one doesn't fall. That's okay. See, magnetic tip, brilliant. Great thing, great tool to have, magnetic tip screwdriver. Pop that round and just pull the hard drives out. There we go. The reason I put this in RAID is because this motherboard isn't SATA 6, it's SATA 3, so it's 3 gigabits per second, which is a little bit slower. So to get more performance, I decided to do it in RAID. Right, so I think I'll go to that fan out, it's getting in the way. I'll just pop that fan out for all the time it takes. It's simple. Just 4 little screws. And this is an LED fan. These are again special screws. A really coarse thread and a lot thicker than normal screws. I'll show you. Don't know if that'll focus. See how the difference in that screw. Their fan screws are completely different. And just kind of, I'll get this screw out that I can hold the fan. There we go, that's the fan out. I'm not going to use this on the new the other case. He doesn't want it, it's just going to collect dust and it's not going to get hot anyway, the computer. So I can take this remember extender I was talking about up there and just pop that out. It's over there. So the motherboard, get the motherboard out. Put a better laying the case down. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 screws that hold that in. I'll just see if I can show you. 6 screws that hold that in. That comes out easy enough. I'll just put the case down and pop it out quick. Sorry you can't see this bit. It's pretty simple. Just take, and these are different screws again. These are, I don't know if you can see that. These are fine threaded screws. I don't know if you can see that very well. See if I can get it silhouetted. But they're a completely different screw for the standoff. And some standoffs are coarse threaded as well, like the case screws. So we'll put these ones to one side so we don't actually mix them up. I'll just buzz these out quick. This is where you have to watch out for a tiny wee bit anti-static, you know. Static discharge. You're working with a motherboard, but you should be okay. As long as you've got the heatsink there, you can handle it with the heatsink. You don't have to actually touch the motherboard, so it should be fine. Just get these out. There's only 6 of these, which is useful. It's a micro ATX board. It's quite a nice motherboard, this Gigabyte. I like Gigabyte. I prefer them over Asus. There's that other one. That other one's at the top, right there. They seem to be a lot more stable. I don't know what it is. I just find that Asus they seem to crash more often. Maybe they got overheating problems at the moment. That's the motherboard out. To show you, put it down there. That's the motherboard. See, I'm holding it by the heatsink. It's quite safe to do that way. this is going to get a RAM upgrade as well. He's going to upgrade to this. There's 4 gigs in there just now. He's getting 8. So I'll pop that there for now. And one thing we must take out, mustn't forget, is this I/O shield. That just pops out. Just push it out. That's it. That's the I/O plate, and that goes with the motherboard. And I think that's us finished with this case. Let's case this. There's a built-in card reader. That's the optical drive. That's SAT optical drive, just 12-pound optical drive. I'll put this to one side. And I'll get that other case. And where to begin? First thing we've got to do is figure out the standoffs. I've got a feeling the standoffs are in the same place. But I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll put the I/O shield in, and the I/O shield goes in with the, you see the audio jacks, they go on the bottom. Because you can see at the motherboard, I'll show you the motherboard. See the audio jacks on the bottom? See that? So that goes actually on the bottom. Right, so it just pops in. Simple. Get a better view of that. So it just popped in, no problem. Get these cables out of the way. Take these cables, put them through there. You just got to watch these standoffs. You've got to have a look at the motherboard. The motherboard has holes. See, the holes are showing up pretty well. I can see them there, there, and that one is a wee bit offset. And the other one's there's one there as well, and one up there. We'll have a look on the case, see if they line up, and I can see they do. There must have been a system similar to this. You see, I don't know if you can see the standoffs very well. Let's move it that way, you don't want to damage it. Silver standoff, see if I can show you. Put my hand through there. There's one here, and that one is offset. You can see it's not in line with those. That one there, or that one there. Slightly offset that top one, so that's right. And you have to count them. I can see that there's 6 in that case and 6 holes, so that's perfect. So that's an important consideration because you can ground out your motherboard. And that's it, game over. New motherboard time. What I'll do is I'll lay this down, and it's simple enough to install. But what I'll do first, I'll just check the screws against the standoffs because they're not always the same. Just offer one up and then test to see if it's coarse or fine. And I'm finding, I've got a feeling that's a coarse one. Just trying a coarse screw, see if it goes in better. Good opportunity to do it now. Yeah, that's coarse, that one. See how this one is. I think that one might be fine. So sometimes, old cases, they can be, being used so much for different things. Yeah, that's a fine thread. I'll just check that. I'm trying to remember where that one there is. That's fine threaded, that one. So keep that one there, and that's a coarse. You check the rest of them. Yeah, that one's coarse. That one in that little corner is coarse. And there's a little hole there, see? I've got a plate for that. That one's coarse. think there's just one fine. Check this one at the top. That's coarse. So you've got 5 coarse ones and a fine one. So you can remember where the fine one is. Those screws we don't know. We'll just check through these screws. If we've got 5 coarse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 coarse there. Perfect. You're probably better to lie this case down to put the motherboard in. It's simple to put it in. Pop it and line up the. I'll put one screw in while it's up, just to get it right. See how it's popping through there? I'll just get one screw in just to secure it. See how it's popping through. You know, I've got to check these tight little tabs that they don't bend and they don't go inside the actual ports themselves. There's tiny little tabs on the I/O port. You don't want them grounding out anywhere. So that's in perfectly. I'll just check all the holes just to see if I can see a standoff. I know there's 6 standoffs there, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6. I can see 6 standoffs. Just take this out again. Just 100% sure. Lift it by the heatsink. Nice and safe to do that. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, 6 standoffs. Just pop that in, line it up, and just check the little tabs that aren't. No, nothing's getting bent out of shape. I'll put one screw in, remember, I'll put the fine screw in, remember where that is, and I'll show you the rest of the screws how to, well, you just screw it in, don't you? Not too tight though, just nip it up, really. Just as soon as you get a bit of resistance, just give it a quarter of a turn. That should be fine to pick up now. Not going to go anywhere. And just pop the rest of the screws in. Simple. I wouldn't tighten them all the way down to begin with. Just put them in. Just kind of. Just you find a little bit of resistance, just stop. Don't tighten them all down just yet, so it just finds its level. I mean, you don't have to be super tight. I mean, there will be a little bit of vibration off the fan. But there is kind of like almost this little pads on the motherboard that would make them even tighter, make it squash up and make it like a bit of a pressure against the screw, which stop it coming out. Stop the screw coming out. They still do get loose over time. The motherboard screws do get loose. I've noticed that. So now we just go around them all. There's no particular way of doing it. Just go around and nip them up, like when you feel resistance, just quarter of a turn all the way around. Yeah, I've done that one, but I'll do it again. It's perfect. That's it. So that's the motherboard in. Now we can pop the power supply in. You see how this has got the fan there, so obviously the fan has to go down, be facing down. It can't be facing up because it wouldn't be able to breathe. It just pops in quite simple. Just there's little tabs inside there on the other side, and it just pops in. Sometimes it can be quite a tight fit. Just turn the piece around and be able to see what I'm doing. There's a tab on the other side there. There we go, just popped in. Get a little, and it's always coarse threaded screws, these ones. Little case screws. put that magnetic screwdriver, brilliant. Get one started off. One there. Once you've got one in, you can just leave it. And don't tighten it all the way down again, just put it a little bit tight and get some more. Hopefully I've got enough screws. Well, I've got plenty, but enough in here. That's fine. There's a course. Another course. I'm going to put one in the opposite corner. You don't really have to go to the opposite corner, but I think it'd just be better in this case. You just pop screws in. Like the same again, you don't have to tighten them up. I mean tight, but not like so you can strip them. I notice on a lot of, you'll find that yourself, a lot of the cheaper items, it doesn't take much for them to strip out. You just have to be kind of gentle with them. The more expensive power supplies, you can pretty good threads on them, so you don't have to be so careful. You just pop these in and go around them all and tighten them up. Just when you feel resistance, just a quarter of a turn, and that'll be fine. This isn't getting posted anyway, this machine, so it's not so bad. Another thing I've got to do is put in this optical drive, and this optical drive, as you can see, pushes against this door at the front. So it's quite a tricky thing, that you just got to kind of push it against the door. And when you press that, it opens this. The door inside opens this door. So you have to make sure the button is on the actual optical drive, CD, DVD drive, is against that button. You just give it a little push. There's a place to put a screw there and one there. I'll pop one in there, and these are different screws again. These are, see if I've got any here. I've got loads of screws over here. Got loads of screws over here. See if I can find one. The optical drive screws are completely different again. See if I can find a silver one. I want to keep it all silver if I can. There's actually quite a few different types of screws that go in a computer case. I did have some because I took the optical drive out. Let's have a look, see if I can find them. I probably can't see them for looking. I think that's one. I don't know if you can see that very well. It's completely different again. It's really fine thread. Is that a coarse thread? I think that's coarse. Can't use that. That's coarse thread. You put that in and strip it out. Is that fine thread? Hard to tell sometimes. Yeah, that's a fine thread, and they're quite a short screw. See how that's quite short. So put some resistance on this thing, on the optical drive, and then just pop the screw in. And I would tighten this one up. So just nip it up. You don't have to do tighten it up, but just nip it up and that'll be fine. And the same on the other side. I don't need loads of screws in here, like it's not being posted, so it's okay. Just find another one of those. That one? Yep, that's one. Little fine short thread screw, so just pop it in. We've got loads of options here, but I think I'll pop it up there. That's it. That should get tightened up. That's it. Now I just got to put the hard drives in. There's lots of places to put hard drives in this. You can put 2 up there. I don't like setting them on the bottom. I mean, even though it's not being posted, in some stage it might be. He might sell it, the guy's buying it, he might sell it and post it, so I like to put them a wee bit higher. Maybe put 1 there and 1 there, or there and there. So there's a lot of shock at the bottom, isn't there? You know, when you think about it. So pop my hard drives in, couldn't be simpler. Just put them in the slot. Where did we decide? We decided we'll put them in the middle. Let's pop them in there. You see the holes lining up. These are the screws I showed you before, really short thread. Little dumpy screws with coarse thread. See that? Dumpy with coarse thread. There you go, and it should be the short ones. I'll pop 2 on this side. Not very tight, just nip, quite loose to begin with till we get them all in. Oh, here we'll do the other drive as well, and that can just pop in underneath it. Now I've got to remember with RAID which goes where, but when I boot it, if I've got the wrong way around, I just have to stop the computer, it won't start. It has to be in the right SATA port, and I forgot to identify which was which, but it doesn't matter because we can adjust that. I'll pop this one in, get these cables out of the way. Let's just pop them. There we got it the right way around. Yep. And the holes just line up again. Same again. Find the little dumpy screws. That's it. I'm filming this on a new webcam. It's a HD, a Lifecam HD 3000. I just want to see how it performed. And just go around the other side. We only need 1 screw on the other side. I'll tell you why I put so many screws in the hard drives. I posted a computer with those, you know, the toolless design. I posted it without putting screws in it. I just used the toolless design, and the hard drive bounced out, smashed everything to bits. I was fortunate that the guy who bought it off me was okay. He just said, you know, it happens. In future, put screws in. And he was really actually, what's the word? He was very understanding about the whole situation. It broke the fans, so I gave him some money to replace the fans. So he did that. They had some lying about, but I gave him some money to do that, and the computer worked fine. So I got away with that one, but now I always put at least 1 screw on either side and 2 the other, because they're a heavy thing, the hard drive. If it comes out, it does a lot of damage. And you can just go and nip these up now. Just nip them up. You don't need to be tight. Just feel resistance a wee bit further than resistance. That's it. And there's a little plate we need to put in. This little plate. Might as well pop it in now. There's no graphics card going in this. This is a FM2 APU dual core thing, HT. So it doesn't need the. For certain things, it would need a graphics card. He's not going to do gaming with it. He's just going to be using it for his office. So what does he need a graphics card for? That just pops in there. You can see that very well. That just pops in there. Just slides into a little slot at the back. Get the screw. See, that's just staying, so that's good. It's a black screw, and it's they're coarse threaded case screws as well. And there's one there. I'll keep it all the same silver. And that just pops in, and again you just nip it up. Now that is basically everything in. The optical drive, you've got the PSU power supply, 2 hard drives, and the motherboard. And we just got to wire it all up now. Now we had on the end of this one, this thing to convert it, and that was converted with this Molex to 8-pin CPU. So we'll just pop that on just now. The Molex can be quite tricky to get on. That came on very nicely, and that just pops in. What I'll do is I'll bring these cables through now, because I'm going to be doing these in a minute. I'll just pop them cables through. This is the bit that people get confused about, the cables in the front port IOs. I'll just pop them through, like so. Now this will need to be wire managed really, because it's a great big long cable. But we'll pop it in just now. It just goes into the 8-pin, and it only goes in one way. It's keyed. You see on there, if you can see, there's a little clasp. It can only go in one direction. So we'll just pop that in. This is CPU power. I'll go it the right way. Aye, it goes that way. And it just clips in, give it a little tug, it's not going to come out. This one is the same, it's keyed, only goes in one way. It's got a little notch on the actual clip on the motherboard, a little notch there, and that's got a little tag as well. And you just line the two up, like that, push it in. Tug it, and then pull it and tug it a little bit. No fair pulling it, but just tug it so you see that it's in. Perfect. And we've got that SATA power. So we've got 2 SATA things. We've got the SATA optical drive, and give that power, and we've got the 2 drives down here. I can't remember how they were plugged in. What was I using? Use something special, because obviously they both had power. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unclip that, so it makes it easier for myself. Just do this carefully. That's it. Take that away, and do all these cables. Get some order. You see, that's the, where is it? That's the CPU, a normal CPU, which is only 4-pin, but this motherboard's 8-pin, so I have to get an extender for it. That's the video card. If I had a video card, that's a video card cable. Don't need that. There's a SATA cable there, SATA cable there, and SATA power there. So it's just deciding which one. It doesn't really matter which one you put in where. And these 2 should go on the bottom. These 2 here should go on the bottom, because they're closer to each other and they'd be good for those hard drives. This one is on its own, so we just pop that, and it pops in easy enough. It's keyed. I don't know if you can see that very well. I don't think you can, but it's got like a little L shape. It goes like that, goes like that, and that just keys. You can only go in one way. You can't put it in wrong. I mean, if you put it in the wrong way, it just won't go in. But best bit of advice: don't force anything. Just kind of gently do it, and if it doesn't go in, turn it around. Try it, and it should just slide. It's a friction fit. Just pops on. That's that one on, and I do these 2. There's a cable there. That's exactly the same, it's keyed again, it's popped on, and this one is keyed, and that just pops on. There we go. I've got these ones to think about. what I'll do is, because I know this system already works, I'll cable tie these up so that it's a little bit more. I've got any cable ties lying around. See me in my shorts. There's some cable ties. And we can use some of these. I'll just cable tie this up so it's out of the way, nice and clean. I know the system already boots up and works, it's been working perfectly. We just kind of bunch them all up. Not so there's so much any pressure on the ports, but just get them out of the way basically. That would look alright like that, and there's nothing pulling on anything. There's nothing in the way of the fan, so we'll pop a cable in around that lot. Just put a cable tie around that. Let's snip that off, it looks clean already. Snip that off. This one I might just keep there and then cable tie it to that fan position. Put a tiny little cable through there. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Get it out of the way. Just pop a cable through the back. One thing you want to do is get out of the way of the fan. All the cables out of the way of the fans. I mean, if it's got short everything out and the system will just run into a hole. I don't think it would fry the system, but it wouldn't do it any favours. You just short it out and that's it, it wouldn't work. You need to buy a new power supply or fix the cable somehow. Just snipping it off. See, that's well out of the way. And you can see that. The cable's well out of the way. That one there, nice. No, it's not going to get in the road at all. Oh, I've got these ones to do. These are that's the HD audio from the front port, and that's the USB. They just go into headers on the motherboard. This motherboard's got two USBs at the front there. It's got 1, 2 front USBs there. And that just pops in. You can see that very well, but it just pops in on the motherboard head, just so and it's keyed as well. There's a hole missing. You just line that hole, I had it upside down. You just line that up. And the corresponding holes on the motherboard. It's simple, you get the cables out of the way. And it just pops on. That's it on. And the HD audio is the same, but it's got a hole missing in a different place. And you just look on the motherboard, you can see that it's like that. So that goes in upside down. And remember, don't force anything, just be gentle with it. If you got it the wrong way around, you could bend the pin. That just pops on, so that's them two on. With these, I'm just going to put these on, but I will do a video showing detailed, showing you how to do it, a close-up video of it. The front port switches that you've got the power, and you've got the LED, hard drive LED, and you've got the power light. Can't get a close up with this camera, but I will do a close up and make another video. These just pop on. I'll just pop these on. The motherboard does say where they go, and on the actual cables, it does say on the cables power switch, and it says on the motherboard power switch. So it's pretty simple. And the power switch and reset switch aren't negative minus dependent. They can go in either way around. It won't make any difference as long as it's on the right connector. It doesn't matter, positive or negative doesn't make any difference. But the LEDs do, and the positive is normally the red wire or the coloured wire, and it's always the one that's on the left, on the outside. So I'll just pop those in. I'll look for them. And just our hard drive LEDs on the outside. Furthest away. Let's make sure that's on. Yeah, it's popped on. And the power LED is the same. It's the positive wire goes on the left hand side above the HDD LED, and the positive wire is always coloured. Pop them on. Quite tight in this case. That's them on, and the power switch is normally just beside the gigabyte boards, is beside the power LEDs, the top row, and it's not positive negative dependent, so it just goes on the 2 pins next to the power LED. I think it is. Let's have a look on the motherboard just to confirm that. Yes, there's a set switches on the bottom row. The power, doubted myself there. I'll find well where it is. And basically, we'll pop these in there. There's a little cable management thing there. You can see that. Just use it. It came with a case, so just use it. Clip them together. And that's, apart from the SATA cables, which are over here. These SATA cables, which I've already clipped together, cable tied and everything. See if they fit on. But I think those two were for the hard drives. This one was for the optical drive. Just pop them in. They're keyed as well. They're like an L as well. And these have got the little clips on them, little retention clips. They don't fall out in transit, or when you move it from one side of the room to the other. So I'll see if that's long enough. I don't think it's going to be. Might be. I'll pop in and try it. I think that's the one there. See how it's got an L? So I think that maybe was for the optical drive. I'll pop that in and see. And that just pops in next to the SATA power. I think it's just to go down to, doesn't have to go very far. There's a SATA connection just there, and there's a SATA connection on the motherboard now. It's not long enough. And I'll have to unclip these, unclip the wiring. Wire management, just clip them off. Oop, I'm flying. Just straighten these and just pop that in. I can manage them again. That just goes onto the motherboard with a little SATA. It's pretty straightforward, it's self-explanatory. You look at the kind of connector and then you look at the motherboard, you can see what it is. Again, I'll do the close-ups of all these connections, but it is really straightforward. And again, these are keyed. They only go in one way. And I'll just pop it in that one. That's it. And I always like to start with 0 and 1 with hard drives, because they're all numbered, the SATA ports. There's four in here, so it goes 0, 1, 2, 3. I like the hard drive to be 0 and 1. So I think these will reach. I can't remember which one was 0 and which one was 1, so I just have to put them on anywhere and then try and boot the system. Let's see. And then just go, I'll put that in there. That's keyed. That just pops in there and you put a little tug and come out. And this one's a different colour. I think I coloured them on purpose, but I forgot to have a look. I notice this is a bizarre cable. It's got a retention clip on one side and not on the other. I don't know why they do that. I don't get it. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't know. So anyway, I'll pop that one in there onto the motherboard. It just goes in there like so, and that one goes to the hard drive. And just pops into the hard drive. That's the computer completely built. What I was going to say, I didn't show putting the RAM in, I didn't show putting the CPU in, and I'll do another video on that later on. At some point, move this out of the way. All I've got to do is plug it all in. This cable tie in there. See if it starts. See, it all looks pretty clean in there. Let's find out if I get a torch. I don't know if it's showing up very well. And show, it's a bit bright. Get a torch and show you. I don't know if that's made any difference. Nah, it's worse, isn't it? It's pretty clean looking in there. I'll bring the PC over. I mean, that's not bad. I haven't done much cable management really, but that's acceptable. Nothing's in the way of the fans. And I always put the power cable in last, just for safety, obviously. I'll just pop these video cable in, VGA, and I'll put other ones in. Little mouse and keyboard. And internet. I've already got an operating system on this one. It's basically ready to go, it just needs some more RAM for the customer. And put the power cable in. Turn the power supply on the back on to on. Get that out of the way. Pop that over there. I've got on the bench. I've got a extension anti-surge with a switch, which I find very useful. Don't have to go down to the socket and just switch it on here. Just switch that on. Now, it might not boot because I might have got the SATAs in the wrong place. Let's have a look at see if you can see the light, see if I've got them wired up right. Yep, I have. There's the power light, and there's the HD LED coming on. See? Let's see if I've got them the right way around. Entering RAID. I got them the right way around. Just fortunate, really. That's it, booting into Windows. So that's how quick and easy it is to build a PC. Change components from one case to another. That's not difficult. Just show you Windows loading up. Because it's SATA 3, it starts not as quick as SATA 6, and solid state drives start a little bit quicker as well. But it's not bad. It's not bad. Well, I can run it, there we are, we're on the desktop already. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. And this has been James from Donkeys Computer Sales. Thank you.